Viruses. Now, we've talked a little bit about them, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but these are viruses like what we're dealing with now that all of a sudden come into our population. One of the most common back in 2009 was it was an epidemic, and it wasn't as bad as what this one is doing, but it appeared in Mexico and went throughout the United States. I barely remember it. They didn't make a big deal out of it on the news, but it was a type of influenza virus called H1N1. In 2003, another one was SARS. This coronavirus is a SARS virus, but SARS stands for sudden acute respiratory syndrome. That was another one. In 1918, the flu pandemic certainly took a lot of lives. And with flu epidemics, there's so many new strains of the flu virus that people have little immunity. Now, if you've had the flu, you do have some immunity. But when some of these diseases or these viruses that are causing these diseases come from parts of the world, and especially jumping species, we don't have any immunity for them, and they're going to be problematic. And so right now, what we're dealing with is a pandemic, and of course we know the pandemic of 1918 had killed more people than any of the other viruses. I hope that won't be superseded by COVID 19, but anytime you have a virus that has not been in our environment before and comes in, it's an emerging. HIV, Ebola, SARS, H1N1, COVID 19, all of these viruses were new on the scene. And when they're new, we have to really protect ourselves because we don't have a natural immunity. And it's always super bad, usually for people that are really young and people that are really old because they have compromised immune systems. With this one that's out today, that's not so much. Young, the real young, like my grandkids' age, they actually shed the virus. Now, when we say you shed it through your urine and your feces. So, a lot of times, and right now, these are things you can do. Don't drink ice water. Don't drink anything with ice in it right now. Drink everything at room temperature or lukewarm. This virus likes the cold. It does not like lukewarm and warm, and it doesn't really have to be hot. But if you drink coffee or you drink hot tea or drink your water at room temperature or your Gatorade at room temperature, because this virus doesn't like that. And what's happening is it gets trapped in our throat and we want to push it down into our esophagus, into our stomach, where our digestive enzymes can deal with it. Well, if you are constantly drinking warm fluids, then anything that could be trapped in your lungs, you're pushing that down in your esophagus. Let your digestive enzymes do their job. So right now, while you're at home, and we know you are, and you're not getting out, which is great, and that's what you need to do. Drink warm fluids. Just don't drink anything with ice because this virus tends to like ice. So, with some of these viruses that are coming in, when they do studies on them, even though we don't have a natural immunity, they can work up the genome, and they have worked up the genome on COVID 19. They can figure out, all right, which group is this going to be the most problematic for? Well, right now, for real small children, they're shedding it because it is going down through their stomachs. They're shedding it in their feces and in their urine. This is what you want. But this is also why it's so important to wash your hands after you use the bathroom. Or if you've been around, or if you're a caregiver, or I know that dogs can't have it, but if you're having to walk your dogs and you have to pick their poop up, I mean, anytime you come into contact, you're coming into contact with viruses that have been shed through your system. So right now, even maybe you don't have symptoms and you have come in contact with it, but you're not getting sick, does not mean that you don't have it. And so it's going to be really important. You want to shed that and get that down into your digestive system and let your digestive system do its job. So there are things that you can do, and I implore you right now, guys, don't go out. I mean, it's awful. I'm going stir crazy. Everybody's going stir crazy. I know that you've had it. You know, you're probably up to your ears with PowerPoints and slides and homework, but the best thing you can do right now is stay away from everybody. And if you have to go out when you come in, wash your hands. Make sure that, you're 6 feet away. Although that's probably not the mode of transmission for most of us. We're probably far enough away where this thing, if we're 10 feet or so away, this thing's going to fall to the ground and not cause us a problem. But we can pick it up on our shoe. We can pick it up on our hands. We can pick it up on our clothing. And so if you have to go out, and you touch things, make sure you wipe them down when they come in. Make sure that anything coming in from the grocery store, get your parents to wipe the milk down before they put it in the refrigerator. It's just good practice right now because you don't have any natural immunity, and all of a sudden it is not so much your age group as maybe a little bit older in the 20s and 30s, and these people are starting to get sick, and they thought, oh, this is only going to hit the really young and the really old, but it's a little tricky. So the longer that we stay inside and let this thing work its course, and if it doesn't have people to run through, it eventually will die off, and that's what we need. So be very vigilant right now.